And we are back. We are back. Episode 29. It's been a while, bro. It's been a while. How are you?
Yeah, it's been a little over a month, and I gotta say, to all the people that we let down, me and Dom, we deserve to be docked 15 points, just like Juventus, for taking so much time.
Good one, man. Good one. Because, we promised to keep the thing going, World Cup Digest, be consistent. And we haven't yet finished breaking down the World Cup. That's the thing, And the crazy thing is, the world seemingly have moved on from the World Cup already,
Yeah,
which is crazy. It's like it never happened.
it just came and went, and we were getting ready for Qatar. The Qatar felt like the World Cup that was coming for years and years, and we waited for 12 years for it ever since it was announced back in 2010, and now it's come and gone.
Yep. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to continue where we left off because we were reacting to our genius group stage predictions, and now we are going to react to our very, very genius knockout stage predictions. And I don't know how many you got right, but I kind of, I mixed it up. I mixed it up a bit during the whole knockout phase because I didn't want to be boring. But to be honest, most of these ties were very predictable in my opinion. And you know, it's not until we got to like the latter rounds where Morocco and Croatia really threw a wrench in the system and disrupted the whole flow of things because we thought that like a specific team was going to go on to do well, but they only got made it to the quarters. I'm not going to call any names right now, but if you're catching on, you'll know what I'm talking about. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to just go through each of the round of 16 matches, go to the quarterfinal, semifinal, and talk about the final and what we predicted and the outcome, if it was what we expected or not. So, are you ready?
Yeah, we're going to do for what our original predictions were before the tournament, as well as while the tournament was going on, like the updated word.
Well, we could only do the predictions, what we predicted when we had the matchups, because what we predicted before didn't happen. You see what I'm saying? Well, if you want to say, in terms of the final, I predicted Argentina to win the whole thing. Who did you go for? Argentina as well?
Yep.
So that's the most important thing because all the other matchups that we predicted probably didn't happen. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm ready.
So Netherlands 3, the USA 1. In this game, we had Memphis Depay scoring in the 10th minute, Daley Blind 45th, Haji Wright pulling one back for the USA, and then Denzel Dumfries putting a nail in Team USA's coffin. What was your initial prediction for this one?
I had 2-1 to the Netherlands in extra time. I thought we were going to potentially make this a close one.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a coaching mismatch between Van Halen and Berhalter, and the Netherlands pretty much figured us out inside the first 20 minutes. I mean, the first 2 goals they scored were identical. Remember those crosses into the box?
Yeah.
We just kept making the same mistakes and allowing them so much space in behind to make those crosses in. I mean, so, it's not a surprise. The Netherlands were the better side. I was just disappointed with some of the in-game decision-making from Berhalter and Haji Wright's scrappy goal at the end there. Well, in like the 76th minute was very odd. Remember that? It was a weird deflection.
Yeah. But the thing is, I did predict Netherlands to win as well. And, the USA, I have to say, they started the game out really, really well. Remember that? But they just didn't take their chances because they were dominating the early stages of the game. And when the chances came, I think Pulisic had a great chance. He didn't take it, and there were a couple more look-ins, and the USA just did not take their chances. So the Netherlands said, okay, hey, we'll let you get most of the ball. We let you do your thing. And then as soon as they had the opportunity, it's like the first opportunity they had, to create a dangerous play, they scored. And then they did it again just before halftime and basically put the game away. But I think the USA really did well in the second half and they showed what they needed to do in the first half. And that goal was actually on merit, or had you right goal, even it was scrappy. And with the USA being so expansive, remember they almost scored a second, I think, too. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and Denzel Dumfries with the USA being very expansive scored another. So
Yeah. Pulisic had that one-on-one opportunity in the first half, and he really, I should have done at least a little bit better there and actually got an attempt on target. But that's really the story of USA's whole World Cup campaign this time around. Just inability to finish.
yeah,
Right, going forward, we played some of the best technical football in a World Cup I've seen a U.S. team play in my life in these 4 games. Arguably, could have won all 4 games if things had gone a little bit differently, but just missing that clinical sort of finesse to put away chances, and it cost us. It really cost us. So
yeah, and the whole thing with Greg Berhalter and Giovanni Reina, that I think probably affected the USA as well during the World Cup because there was tension throughout the squad. And we saw when the USA defeated Iran and they were going back to the hotel and they were celebrating, and Gio
yeah,
Reyna was just listening to his music, and it was like he wasn't part of it. So,
and it's still affecting the team too. There's still a whole nonsense going on because you might have heard about like Reyna's parents getting involved and like scandal with Berhalter and his wife and all that. It's a big mess right now, right?
I know. Always a lot of off the field issues that affect the team, man. So, but the Netherlands, on merit, they came to the group phase rather smoothly, and I think they deserve to win this game. And if it wasn't, maybe if they met another opponent in the next round, it could have been a whole different situation for the Netherlands here. So we don't want to be too long-winded. So definitely gonna keep it moving. Argentina, Australia, 2-1 the eventual winners, Argentina. Messi in the 35th, Julian Alvarez in the 57th. And with Argentina being 2-0 up, Australia lodged a really, really good fight back. That shot that Enzo Fernandez deflected into the back of the net. And then I think that was Aziz Best Behich with the dribbling that almost scored that goal, right? Garan Cool as well. If those goals went in, man, oh man, there was gonna be some sick goals, and Australia almost, pulled off a remarkable comeback there. So, a very, very memorable game. Of course, I predicted Argentina to go through, and did you predict Argentina to go through as well?
Yeah, of course. Always stick with pre-tournament picks. I think I had a 2-0 or something like that. Or a 1-0 because I thought maybe Australia could keep it low scoring, stifle. But yeah, I had Argentina winning. That goal by Messi, man.
Yeah, that was like close quarters, man. It's like it's magical. It's magical.
Yeah. Australia fought back valiantly. There were moments, I think, who was it? I think it was it Enzo Fernandez or was it somebody else? Argentina could have went up 3-0, but they couldn't convert more chances that came their way. Then that Australia came back in the match via deflection. And then
14 shots, 5 on target. They had a lot of opportunities, just weren't putting the chances away. And we spoke about this, I think, after the game that, like, for example, if you score 2 and you don't put the game away, you give it opposition a chance. And we saw that in the game against the Netherlands that we will get to eventually, where Argentina just kept making that same mistake of not putting games away.
Yep.
It's inconsequential right now, but still, for the future, it's something that we would definitely need to improve on, man.
I agree.
So, Graham Arnold, he really overachieved, in my opinion. And Australia bowed out of the tournament with their heads up very proudly, man. I was surprised that Australia even got out the group. Australia making it to the World Cup was even a big surprise as well, So, so give it up to the Aussies, man. Very, very gritty. And
Yes.
as you had Argentina's pre-tournament winners, of course, you had them going through, and they didn't disappoint. Really, really didn't disappoint. So this one wasn't really any surprise. So we're gonna keep it moving. Guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Let us know your picks and whether you did get them right. So France 3, Poland 1. In this game, Olivier Giroud, the 44th, Kylian Mbappe, the 74th, and the 90th. And Robert Lewandowski scored a late consolation goal in this game. So of course, I predicted France over Poland, but I think, throughout the tournament, Poland, they played well and they did good enough to get to the round of 16, but it was always going to be a tough, tough battle against France. And good on them to keep France, 44 minutes without a goal. But once, they got one, Mbappe in the second half, Mbappe, man, he was brilliant in the tournament. I think as Mbappe was better than he was in 2018. So that's a very good sign. And I like that he just controlled games like single handedly. Like he took games, he took players on, and he took the responsibility. You see what I'm saying? And I like that. I like when a player just take the responsibility, start taking on players, taking shots from distance, and it was amazing.
Yeah, and I had France coming through just like you. Um, there were, I mean, I thought Poland did just about what they could have to have held France at bay for almost the full first half, but they didn't really look that threatening uh, going forward. I felt, and as France just sort of like grew into the game, there was an opportunity I remember very vaguely. I think it was Kamil Glick had a headed chance. Do you remember that to
Yeah, I
pull
think I remember that. Yeah.
one back to tie it up? But you know, I mean, I don't have much to comment on this match. I mean, France were heavy favorites to come through. Poland were a little bit lucky because they capitalized on Mexico having a bad year to come through the group.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have much to say. Kylian Mbappe is a freak of nature, though.
I know. What are your thoughts on Mitch getting, like leaving the post?
Um, from what I understood, a lot of Polish fans were okay with it because Poland actually got criticized, even though they survived the first round. They got criticized for the way they came through.
They were very defensive.
Very defensive, ultra pragmatic. That last match against Argentina, they were kind of hanging on for dear life and hoping that Mexico wouldn't get the goals they needed against Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
They were a bit lucky. I think certainly among all the teams that made it to the next round, they might have been the worst one. So yeah, a lot of fans, like from what I heard from Michkowicz, and one of the main criticisms that like Polish coaches get, and like the Polish league, I think it's called the Ekstraklasa, is
Yeah.
that a lot of coaches are very they have a very similar style, and so I mean, a lot of Polish fans were not upset about Michkowicz leaving.
So what are your thoughts on them possibly getting Fernando Santos as their manager?
Well, they have him now, don't they? It's official. He's the
It
manager.
is. It is. Oh wow. Well, the
Yeah.
last time I saw it, it was like in the news. And the other thing too, a player that I did identify during the tournament, Jakub Kiwior, who did eventually get a move to Arsenal. So there were some positives that came out of the tournament. Robert Lewandowski got his first World Cup goal as well. So a few positives, definitely a few positives. But we got to move on. We got a lot to talk about. So we have to keep it moving. England, Senegal. England 3, Senegal 0. So Jordan Henderson, 39th, Harry Kane, 45 plus 3, and Bukayo Saka at 57. So I did pick England to beat Senegal because I didn't even think Senegal would have actually gone through after the whole Mane situation. I was favoring a Netherlands Ecuador coming out of Group A. But Senegal, they did well and they got through. And I think they had some chances early on in this game and just didn't take the chances as well. similar situation to the USA Netherlands game where Senegal they had a few opportunities. I'm like, oh man, what are you guys doing? And England's, they survived that early scare and they stamped their dominance on the game.
So I mean, we saw early on Senegal were hounding England. They were like putting like 2-3 players on one at a time, trying to win the midfield battle. Whenever Senegal won back possession, there was an opportunity early on, I think, for them to take the lead. I forgot who it was. He had a wide open net. I think he couldn't convert his chance. Was it Da? I don't remember who it
I
was.
can't remember exactly every detail because it's been a while,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
still,
That could have
insignificant
changed
right now.
that could have changed the complexion of the game entirely because you would have England on the back foot trying to chase the lead, how they would adapt to that. I think as the match went on, though, I think the disparity in quality, shined through. And um, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, both Henderson and Kane's goals, they were both brilliantly timed counterattacks, right? Senegal just had no answer.
But all in all, you got to give Aliou Cisse a lot of credit. He's been in charge of the team for a very long time. Got them out the group this time. They should have got out the group in 2018, but because of the discipline, factor, the yellow card situation. So credit to him, man. And he's a good manager, and I'm pretty sure he'll stay in charge of the Senegal team for the foreseeable future. You see?
Yeah, there's no reason for him to leave. He's been there for like 5 years now. AFCON finalist.
Isn't it more than 5 years?
More.
Yeah, about 7 years, I think. Something like
AFCON
that.
finalists in 2019, then AFCON winners earlier last year.
And that was Senegal's first AFCON as well. So.
Yep. Yeah, and you always remember your first.
Yep. So he goes down as a legend, though. So.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Definitely. But I expected England to get over Senegal and.
Same.
Yes, and it was no surprises there really. So far, no surprises. We're gonna keep it moving. And the next game, Japan, Croatia. Well, I did pick Japan to go through based on merit and the way they were playing, the way they came to their group with, with the very, very tough group. Germany, Spain, Costa Rica, very tough group. And I was like, wow, you see what I'm saying? I have to go with Japan here because Croatia, even though they came to a tough group as well, it was like they hang on for dear life against Belgium where Lukaku couldn't put the ball in the net for, to save his life. So I was leaning towards Japan and they didn't let me down with the Maeda goal in the 43rd. And I just think Japan are guilty of not putting away their opportunities in this game and putting the game to bed, which allowed Croatia to still stay in the game and got that second, that equalizer and taking the game all the way to penalties where they won. So, and Japan were terrible in the penalty shootout, so.
Oh, horrible. Yeah. They missed like 3 out of 4 penalties, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like this World Cup, this match in particular, this was partially down to Japan being their worst enemy. And we saw this. It was a continuation, sort of like in the group stages. Remember when they lost that second match against Costa Rica?
I think it was selection as well. Like Moriyasu should have stuck with what was working. Like the players that came off the bench as super subs, keep that going. But no, he chose to start those players. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know why. I don't know why the managers do that. Because if you check, Rich Doan was coming off the bench to great effect. You see what I'm saying? Yep. Richard Doan should have been a super sub. He should have never started the game. He was a player that you needed if you need a goal. If you need a goal, you bring him on. And you didn't have that option. You see?
Yeah, can't make a super sub if they're already starting. And I have to give a lot of credit to Croatia because as we'll get to later, they went on another deep run. They're just the savage. This is like their playground, knockout stage tournament football, penalty style specifically. Man, they don't care who you are; they'll crush your dreams.
Yeah.
So I thought this match was entertaining. from what I remember of it. It was entertaining. I picked Croatia to go through. I remember I did predict them. I think I had them going through in extra time. So it was winnable for Japan, and I'm going to make a video actually soon coming this week when I do like assessing Asian teams in the World Cup. I did that already for Africa.
Yeah.
Really like having a discussion of whether or not this can be considered a successful World Cup for Japan or if it's a disappointment. And that's going to be an interesting, I think.
I do think it's another success, but they would want to get over that round of 16 hoodoo, So I do think it's a success getting out the group and actually competing in the round of 16. Because for the past two World Cups, they've had European teams, so you gotta also factor that in. They haven't really got lucky with like a favorable, maybe like let's say a CONCACAF team, you know what I mean, or a lower tier South American team in the round of 16. They've always had it stacked up against them, but I think overall it was a really good performance. They stopped Germany from getting out the group in back-to-back World Cups. You know what I'm saying? So
sure,
kudos to Moriyasu and Japan, and Moriyasu is still in charge. So that tells a lot. That tells how satisfied the fans and the board, are with him.
He's been there for a while now too. He's been there now since before the Asian Cup in 20.
Yeah, he's been there maybe 5 years now. Also, if I'm not mistaken. So we keep it moving. We still do have a lot to talk about. And the next one, man, Brazil 4, South Korea 1. Well, Brazil, come on, that was a no-brainer. Predicted Brazil to get the better of South Korea, and they didn't disappoint because Vinny Jr. in the 7th, Neymar in the 13th, Richarlison and Paqueta. It was like the most one-sided of all around the 16 ties up until that point. And I was like, okay, put them out in misery. South Korea just got, they just got rinsed out and put out to dry, man. Park Seong-ho with the goal in the 76, consolation at most. And even though South Korea had a solid tournament, in my opinion, they always had it stacked up against them against Brazil.
Yeah.
So this was no surprise, and pretty sure you feel the same way.
Yeah, the victory for South Korea was that final match day drama in the group stages where they squeezed through. Brazil was always going to come through this match, and it was over inside the first half an hour. See here on the screen, and we got to see some, Brazil really show its flair here with a lot of goals. And we remember all the goal celebration, the dances, and Tite, the whole celebration.
This was when Richarlison scored that other good goal, right? The second one. That 29-minute goal was a very good goal when I think that was Thiago Silva that set him up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a really good goal, man.
I give South Korea respect though, because like second half they looked better. I think Park Seong-ho the strike that he scored, it was off of either a throw in or a free kick, and then he just like pelted it, and it was a worldie.
I can't remember the goal exactly, but I think so. Yeah, I think that was from distance. Yeah.
It was from distance. Yeah, it was a great goal.
Yeah.
So South Korea, I don't think they complain too much about making a round of 16.
Yeah, they did pretty well.
So yeah.
Because the last World Cup they didn't get out the group, but they took Germany with them. So
this is the first time they got out of the group since 2010.
You got to give it to them, man. Definitely got to give it to Asia. Asia lit up the World Cup this time around. So even a Saudi Arabia who didn't make it out the group, entertained. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So the most disappointing team from Asia, the host, of course, Qatar. But Iran had their moments, Saudi Arabia had their moments, of course, Australia, Japan, and South Korea. They all got out their group. So, and isn't that like a record to have 3 Asian teams ever got out their group at the same World Cup?
Yeah, that's correct. This was the first World Cup where 3 Asian teams came out.
Exactly.
The most there'd ever been before at once was 2, but there was 3 this time: Japan, South Korea, and Australia.
And they didn't actually cheat for the Asian teams this time around because the last time I think more than one probably got out of the group was in 2002, right? When Japan and South Korea hosted the World Cup. That's at least one of those times.
Um,
Japan got to the round of 16, and South Korea, of course, came in third or fourth.
yeah, it was 4th.
Fourth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Turkey.
So yeah, I mean, of all confederations other than UEFA, Asia sent the next highest number of teams through to the round of 16. They sent more than South America did.
So give it up to Asia, man. Give it up to Asia. Give it up to South Korea, even though they got beaten badly. So we have 2 more round of 16 matches. Let's run through these. Morocco 0, Spain 0. Well, look, of course, what I think I went with Morocco here, you know. I think I went with Morocco. I can't remember predicting Spain to go through because Spain was one of the teams I had getting knocked out in the group phase and Germany going through. I knew one of Spain or Germany wasn't going into the round of 16, and I went for Morocco here, and they didn't disappoint. Spain tried to poison them by death by 1,000 passes. And we check the stats really quick, you will see they had 1,000 passes and still lost the game, which is absolutely nuts if you ask me, man.
It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. And it went to penalties and they didn't even convert any of the penalties. So Morocco didn't score. Morocco didn't concede a goal. Morocco had only conceded an own goal up until that point under Reguadri. And they didn't concede a goal against Spain. Their closest, one of their closest neighbors outside of Africa. Spain even has parts. Spain even, what do you call? What do you call those places? Like they have some land in Morocco.
Yeah.
There's a club called AD Sueta that's actually on Morocco. I was like, I didn't even know that. I recently found that out. So Spain has like territories on Africa, on Morocco. I know about the Canary Islands, but I didn't know they had like pieces of Morocco that they actually stole. Let's just keep it real. Don't want to get too political, but it is what it is. And this victory must have been one of the sweetest victories for Morocco, even sweeter than the one against Portugal that's coming up. So give it up to Morocco, man. 0-0, win on penalties. One of the greatest victories in the history.
Yeah, 1,019 passes for Spain and 1 registered shot. I remember when this happened in real time, I texted you and I was like, this is just like, no, this is not okay. This is and one of the biggest criticisms that you and I had for Spain in this match is they were not adventurous at all. We kept waiting for them whenever they got the ball on the edge of the box. Just try something from distance. Just try something from distance. Maybe you'll surprise Bono or something. But they just no. They insisted on walking the ball into the back of the net, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, Morocco, keep the ball. You can do what you want. We got you figured out. Like, it was just so insipid and uninspiring, and I was glad that Spain got booted out. And that's the end of Luis Enrique, by the way.
Yep.
He's gone. So, deserved exit for Spain. Morocco getting one over on their European neighbors slightly to the north.
And I think didn't Morocco have chance to score as well, and they didn't. I think they had a few chances.
I think. It's like in my mind. I forgot. I think it was Amrabat or somebody else. They had a chance in extra time, I think, to score.
Yeah, they had some good chances, but still, most importantly, they held on and win it in penalties. So
it's kind of funny how Spain could not score, and like as a divine commentary, it was like you can't even score a single PK in a shoot. Still ball, you can't even score a single.
I know, man. I know. So that was the end of Spain, end of Enrique, and a few players as well. Probably the last time they'll ever play for Spain. Guys like Busquets, Aspilicueta, and a few more. Probably, last time they represent Spain.
Yep.
The big one, man. The biggest victory in the round of 16 here. Portugal, Switzerland. I actually went for Switzerland to win this game because I had put my faith in the Swiss. I really like the team. I like what Murat Yakin was doing. And you look at the back line of Shaw, Akanji, Elvedi, these guys, Xhaka in the midfield, Zachariah, Embolo. The squad is just really nice. I like the squad. Ricardo Rodriguez, Vidme. I like the squad. Jan Sommer. I really like the squad, and I thought they were gonna. He completely switched up his style in this game. Like, how are you gonna have a style of play, a formation that you've had success with throughout the group stage, and you come into the round of 16 and just change because you're playing Portugal? Too much respect to the opponent, and they got smashed up, man. But credit to Santos for dropping Ronaldo, brick playing Gonzalo Ramos, and he scored a hat trick, the first hat trick, and the first, but the one of two hat tricks scored at the World Cup. Because Mbappe scored a hat trick too. So
Yep.
it was nuts, man. This game was nuts.
Oh yeah. After this match, I thought to myself that Portugal had the means to win this World Cup. It was all just going to be dependent on Fernando Santos. And yeah, I mean, it was the right move to bench Ronaldo. And look who the rest of the squad really shined. I mean, you see Rafael Leao's goal at the end there. That was a rocket, man.
Yep.
That was a great goal. And like you said, Gonzalo Ramos coming on, getting a three-piece. Yeah, it was a total domination. And I think that Murat Yakin, he got this tactically way off. And very uncharacteristically for Switzerland, because they shouldn't be losing this lopsidedly to Portugal. They shouldn't. I thought this match was going to be close, like you did. I had Portugal winning, but I thought it was going to be like a 2-1 or something like that. But yeah, no, just total domination.
Yeah, so Swiss out. I think Yakin is still in charge of the team. No reason to really get rid of him. We do have to do a managerial update for some of the teams that has changed managers and everything, and around the world and around the World Cup teams as well. So look for that episode in the future. We're back. We're gonna try to be consistent. It's difficult. We got lives, but we want to keep the international thing going. You know what I'm saying? So what we're gonna do, we're done with the round of 16. Most of our predictions were pretty spot on, and I think it was pretty boring in the round of 16. You know what I mean? So when I went into the quarterfinals, I kind of switched things up a bit with some of my predictions. So we got 4 quarterfinals to talk about. And this one, let's talk about the first one here. We got Croatia 1, Brazil 1, and Croatia winning on penalties.
I had the Brazil winning 2-0. Was wrong. I said in the post match, this was actually, like, from a tactical battle standpoint, this was my favorite game of the whole World Cup.
Yeah, this was a good game. This was really entertaining because Brazil, they just couldn't score.
Mm-hmm.
They just couldn't score, even with the chances, that they created early. Livakovic just would have let them through. And Brazil, I think, made one of the biggest mistakes because they just game management. Because after finding it so hard to break down Croatia, they actually eventually got that goal. That was a brilliant goal by Neymar. That was memorable. The way he scored that goal, that's the quality we expect from Neymar. And all Brazil needed to do, and I think Tite as a manager needed to step up at that point and, take the sting out of the game, put the game to bed, not by scoring another goal, but by just keeping the ball, nullifying anything Croatia, trying to bring, to you. And they failed to do that. Anthony came on and he was trying to do the razzle dazzle, trying to dribble. Why are you dribbling with 5 minutes, with 115 minutes into the game, you're dribbling and you're trying all kind of skill moves, trying to score in a World Cup quarterfinal. Why?
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
I remember,
And you give the ball away, turn over the ball,
yeah,
and the
and
rest is history.
when Croatia scored that goal, they were on the break. Brazil was giving them a lot of space. You notice that? A lot of space. And
Because Brazil were being expansive. Brazil opened up and they were playing some expansive football. Zlatko Dalic had brought on Petkovic and Orsic, and those two linked up to punish Brazil. And once the game go to extra time and the game go to penalties, you know who's the favorites.
Yeah, Croatia. They thrive. Most teams feel the pressure. That's their comfort zone, isn't it? Yeah, I did not like in this game Tite's decision to take off Vinicius that early. You might remember. I thought, even though some pundits felt that he was a little bit slow on the ball, I thought that he did well enough to not be subbed off that early, because he was causing, especially in the first half, from what I remember this match vividly, he was causing a lot of problems on that flank. Like, there were moments where Croatia just did not know how to handle his pace. And I think that the foot of the blame has to go to Tite in this for this result. But I have to give Croatia's midfield a lot of credit, man. This is a team that is regularly, they have one of the best midfields in the world. And if you remember the first half, I think it was Modric and it was Juranovic. I think they were gliding all over the pitch. They were playing out of their skins. Modric was making some lovely 1-2 touches from the outside of his boot. They were working hard.
The thing with Croatia, I think Croatia got their every position sorted out for the World Cup, So give him a lot of credit. Throughout the 4 years between the last World Cup and this World Cup, they sorted out their fullback positions with Sosa and Juranovic, because remember, those were the most headaches positions, the fullback positions, where they were playing makeshift. For a while, it was a lot of trial and error, and they finally found two players who are capable of running for the entire game and taking on players and good defensively. Well, Juranovic, he's a beast. That's why he got to move to Union Berlin, who's doing very well in the Bundesliga. So kudos to Croatia, man. Really, solid team, and they knocked out Brazil quarterfinal. And I mentioned this to you. It is so disappointing to think that for the last 20 years, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 World Cups, Brazil, they've got knocked out in the quarterfinal for I think all the World Cups except what? Yeah, all those World Cups they got knocked out in the quarterfinals, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Maybe yeah, they made it to the semis in 2014, right? Where they hosted.
Oh yeah. When they hosted it, yeah. And then 4 of the last 5 tournaments, just quarterfinal.
Yeah, so 06 with that team that they had in 06. These guys had Robinho, Kaká, Adriano, Ronaldinho, R9,
say Roberto,
Roberto Carlos, Lucio. They had all these players, all those players, and still didn't get past the quarterfinals. So, listen, man, just another disappointment. That's all. It's another disappointment. And Tite, that was his last game too.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, that was his. Who is the manager in Brazil? It's still vacant?
It's vacant, but from what I heard a few days ago, they were trying to angle for Luis Enrique as an option. That'll be interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I mean,
maybe if that happens, guys like Vinicius and Rodrigo won't get into the team because they play for Real Madrid, and then Militao, all these guys won't get picked,
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's gonna happen, man.
I don't know. I don't know either. Brazil, I know, tends to hire Brazilian coaches.
Exactly.
So. But yeah, it's a shocker. It's a shocker. It feels like it should be because we know Croatia's quality. But at the same time, it's a massive disappointment for Brazil. It's a failure because they should have gone at least one step further than the last World Cup, And get this, here's a crazy statistic. Here's a golden nugget for the people that are watching. Brazil has now failed to win a knockout stage match in a World Cup against a European country since the 2002 final against Germany that they won.
Wow.
They've had 5 World Cup eliminations in a row now by European teams: France, Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, now Croatia. Yeah, I think this one has to hurt. This has to be up there as among the most painful ones, considering the pressure, how they dominated qualifying yet again. So it's a failure. It cannot be seen as anything other than a failure,
bro. My videos on the Morocco-Spain penalty shootout and this penalty shootout still getting views. Still getting views up to this day. And we almost in February. I'm talking about this video is getting over 50 views over the last 2 days. That says a lot, right? That's how monumental those victories were. The Marquinhos miss, the penalty miss, so Croatians are still buzzing over this, man.
Yeah, of course.
So we're going to leave that right there, and we're going to keep it moving. We got a lot to talk about still. Netherlands, we got a lot of epics. There's a lot of epics. Netherlands, Argentina, man. This one is pretty easy because, I predicted Argentina. I'm pretty sure you did too.
Yep.
And it seemed like a formality. Molina with a really good goal. What a pass by Messi, though.
Insane.
The thing is, right, I say the World Cup was over since over a month and a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen a lot of football since. At least I did, I don't know what you've been doing, you know what I'm saying? But I've seen a lot of football, I've seen movies, I've wanted to work. My memory is shrouded right now when it comes to everything in the World Cup. But I remember that pass.
Yep.
I remember the pass, and I remember those goals from Wout Weghorst. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this game, that was a classic, memorable game. And Argentina, again, guilty of not putting the game to bed. You got to put the game to bed. And you got to give Van Gaal a lot of credit. Master stroke by bringing on Wout Weghorst. The free kick routine, man. Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, this game, Messi's pass to Nahuel Molina. I don't know, when you watch it in real time, the Dutch back line was not anticipating it at all because he makes that pass, right, when Nahuel Molina gets in just behind. And when Messi passes that to him and it reaches Molina, you see the Dutch back line, they look and it's I don't know how to describe it. The body language, they were not expecting it.
Yeah, but the thing is, right? The thing is, I think that was a no-look pass as well. I don't know how he did it, man, but you couldn't have anticipated the pass. It's just
exactly
the angle and everything, the run made by Molina, and how he managed to get the angles right and get it precise. You need a protractor and a compass and all these things to just figure that out. Because that was brilliant. That was brilliant, man.
Weghorst's second goal from that free kick was clever as well. The Argentine defenders thought that he was going to place it high, but they placed it low. That was also unexpected. He just has a quick turnaround and he just pokes it in.
And that header was from a really good distance too, I think, right? The header goal, that was from distance. I'm like, God damn, how these guys. I couldn't believe that the Netherlands were back in that game. I didn't believe it. I was like, what am I seeing? I came downstairs and I was gearing up to rip Netherlands a new one and say how this was such a one-sided, because the game was one-sided up for 80 minutes, one-sided.
Very one-sided. And Argentina, the Netherlands only took this to penalties because Argentina gave them permission to do it.
Yeah.
And that's because Argentina just, like, even before Weghorst's first goal, you notice how Argentina, they kept making so many fouls in like goal scoring positions. They kept making so many fouls outside the box, giving the Netherlands free kicks. And they just sort of capitulated. And it was like in a similar way to how they kind of failed to close out in a smooth way against Australia. It followed them here again. And as we'll see, it'll follow them all the way to the final. Like, this was almost a disaster. This was the first real big mishap where they almost like failed to go on to win this World Cup because you can't be dominating the way you have for 75 minutes of the game and just allow the Netherlands to come back with 15 minutes left in the fashion that they did. In extra time, Argentina, though, I mean, they did sort of get their act together. They were the better team in extra time. Remember, I think they hit the post. There was an effort that hit the post it was the last minute of stoppage time, 122nd minute. I don't remember who it was, but they could have won the match 3-2 right there. And then,
And you can remember the game was very tense with the whole, back and forth with the teams, Van Gaal and Messi and the whole celebration, the Riquelme celebration, and Denzel Dumfries got sent off. I didn't even realize that. I didn't even know he had got sent off at first, and then later on, I found out he got sent off. So it was a very feisty game, man, and very, very feisty game.
for sure.
I think a lot of enemies were made. Argentina players made a lot of enemies throughout this World Cup.
I agree. Yeah, Messi mouthing off against Van Gaal on the sidelines.
Yeah,
All right, want to move on?
definitely. But the better team did win, though. They did.
By far.
So another shock, man. Another shocker here. Morocco won, Portugal 0. And with Portugal coming off of that brilliant win against Switzerland, I think I went for Morocco here, if I'm not mistaken. I think I was riding the Morocco train here, and just hoping that an underdog team, continues to do well. And I can't quite remember if I did predict Morocco or Portugal, but I have a feeling I went for Morocco to just keep going. You see, and you gotta give it to Morocco, man, because Fernando Santos stuck with his guns from the previous game, and I think one mistake he made here. Well, Portugal didn't hit their straps, right? They were really off the game. I was like, okay, they destroy Switzerland. Think about what they're gonna do to Morocco, maybe. And Yusuf Enezairi with that goal, you could, Atia Allah. That was a really, really good change made by Reguadri, and that cross into the box. You remember he was very lively throughout the game. I was like, oh, where was this guy? And Yusuf Enezairi towering above Diego Costa. It's like he dunked on him, basically, because for you to get the ball ahead of the goalkeeper who could use his hands and you could only use your head, and Enezairi got some height, and he oh man, that was a good goal. That was a really, really good goal. And Morocco, they stuck it out, and even as Shadira got sent off late, Portugal just couldn't score. And I think one mistake that Fernando Santos made was bringing on Ronaldo early. He brought him on a bit too early in the game. It's like he panicked and like, oh, Ronaldo, come on, save us. He should have brought him on a bit later. I remember Ronaldo tests Bono as well. So you remember that Ronaldo chance?
Yeah, I remember.
So Portugal,
yeah,
I don't know. That's a disappointment, man. It's a disappointment.
It's a disappointment, but I feel like, oddly enough, this match was lost for Portugal, not necessarily because of any managerial mistake, but just because Morocco were really,
I don't even think Fernando Santos deserved to get sacked because of this loss or anything.
I
Because
agree. I
you
agree.
know he did what he needed to do. He kept things going on merit, and the team just didn't show up on the day. And you got to give Morocco credit for just being really good. You know, Sofiane Amrabat, Azadine, Onahi, you know, all these guys, Ashraf Hakimi, these guys were really good throughout the game, and the World Cup. You know, so kudos and credit to Morocco, man, who would go down in the history of the first African team to make it to the semifinals. And they, of course, they were 90 minutes away from a final. Imagine that, man. That was nuts. You know,
Yep.
what 180 minutes away from winning the World Cup as well. So
History. It finally
yeah,
happened. An African team in the semifinals.
yeah,
With lows can come highs. Remember 4 years ago, no team out in the from the group stages.
exactly. You know, so Portugal a bit disappointing there, and I think that's the reason why they got rid of Santos because they're like, how dare you lose to Morocco? So Morocco knocking out two of the Iberian giants in Portugal and Spain, and making it to the semis, first African team to do so. So we move this game, England, France. I went for France, of course. And England, they had a chance, man. They had the chance. They had the chance. Chouameni with a brilliant long distance shot. 17th minute, Harry Kane, he got the penalty. And then he got another penalty after Olivier Giroud scored to make it 2-1. And then Harry Kane had the penalty, right? Did he get a penalty to make it 2-2?
Yeah, he did, and he skied it.
Bro, that ball is actually still in orbit right now. I was actually, you know, before we started this stream, I was actually watching National Geographic, you know, on the Sci-Fi channel,
Yeah,
and I saw the ball on both those channels, man. Still orbiting, still just out there, just drifting, man. You know, so Harry Kane. And the thing is, right, you have to criticize Harry Kane because you, as the captain, you got the chance to actually win the game for your country. Step up and not even win, but bring your team back into the game against France, a juggernaut, defending champions. And what you did, you missed the penalty. And the thing is, bro, this is the thing, and you gotta, and I have to criticize the English fans for this. Like, as a fan base, not point out individuals, but as a fan base, when Saka and Sancho and these, you know, young black dudes miss their penalties during the Euro, in the Euro final, man, oh man, they were abused on social media. I'm pretty sure Harry Kane got some abuse too. But it's just the narrative, man. It was just like, you see what I'm saying? They painted these guys as villains. You see what I mean? And I think for the whole Kane situation, I didn't see that. I really didn't see that. You know, so I think the English fan base got a bit exposed with that one, if you ask me. What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I say yeah. I mean, I agree. I think, like overall, though, England could have won this game, man. They could have won this game because I remember when you and I were reacting to this though, like in the same night,
Yeah.
in the second half. Like there were moments where it looked like England were possibly going to go on to win this, and it's kind of funny because you remember when Pickford had that excellent clearance in the 77th minute, and then the English defense just could not. Win the ball back, and then France got back possession, and then that was crossed to the box, and Giroud scored that lovely header, and Pickford could not keep that one out. Man,
It's a failure, bro. It's a failure for England. Another one.
I honestly, genuinely believe the winner of this match was going to reach the final. You know, because if England had come through this, ooh boy, they might have been quietly favored.
Yeah.
You know, so
Listen, man, England are failures. Let's just put it that way. Because with a team like that, stacked up like that, so many players in all different positions, England should have at least reached the semis. You see what I'm saying?
I agree. Yeah, they should have made a Final Four appearance.
And you don't get a penalty like that and have a world class, so called world class striker Hurricane and miss a penalty. Come on, man.
Yeah.
It was poor. At least, okay, I would have understood if Lloris had saved that. But to put it in orbit, man, and you remember Mbappe's expression, that viral picture of Mbappe just nervously laughing.
Yeah.
You know? Because I'm telling you, man, they knew they were done. France had conceded that goal. It was done for them, man. Because they played well in the first half. They scored that goal. They had control of the game. And in the second half, it's like they were like reeling. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Until they stepped it up again, you know, when Giroud got that goal. So, you know.
Do you think England is right to keep Southgate? I think he's
earned it. Yeah, man. Of course. He's done pretty well with the team, man. He got the team playing well. Like, who else you gonna put in charge?
Yeah. Plus, it's the luck of the draw. They got France in the quarters because of the luck of the draw.
Exactly, man. So let's see what they do in the next major tournament, Euro 2024. So
yep,
they made the final of the last one. You know what I mean? And they couldn't beat Italy, who didn't make the World Cup. So, you know, it's just England, man. Just things just not going their way. I don't know what. Maybe the team's cursed or something. Maybe it is.
Who knows? I mean, 50 plus years of not winning anything.
Yep. So we got to the semis now. Argentina, Croatia, man. This one was pretty one-sided. I did went for Argentina to win the match as well. You know, even though I like Croatia, I knew Argentina were going to win. And I think I had said Croatia. I did say Argentina was going to lose because I didn't want to predict for Croatia, because if I predicted for them, they were going to lose. You know, I had this thing where if I predict for Croatia, they lose. So one-sided game, man. I think this was one of the poorest matches that Croatia played, and I think they got the stuffing knocked out of them. I think there was a decision early on in the game that just threw them off. Was it the penalty decision?
It might have been, yeah.
I think it was the penalty decision.
It changed everything. It changed everything, yeah. Because even Modric said after the match, he said, "I have no idea how you could award that, et cetera, et cetera." It generated some controversy.
Once they conceded a penalty, it was like they were like dejected.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? And you saw that in the result, man. Messi 34th, Julian Alvarez 39th and 69th, and listen, man, you got to give it to Julian Alvarez because this guy came through, you know, the Copa Libertadores. That's where he was really starring. You see what I'm saying? And for River Plate, he scored 5 goals in one game at one time in the Copa Libertadores. I don't even know if you remember that. Before he got the move to Manchester City.
I did not know that. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he scored like 5 in one game. I think against a Chilean team or Peruvian team. He scored like 5. He was on fire. This kid was. Why do you think Man City went in for him? He was on fire. And look at that. Julian Alvarez have already won a Copa America and a World Cup, which is nuts. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing about Julian Alvarez, I get to watch him every time he plays for City, right? He is so freaking direct. That's the thing with him. He's direct, man. He's direct, and that's what I like about Julian Alvarez. Very, very direct, and he's like Sergio Aguero. You know,
yeah, I mean, yeah, and I gotta be honest though. Like the second goal, Argentina scored when they won the ball back. It was they won the ball back? Was it off from a corner? And they just went down the field quickly.
And I can't remember exactly how.
I feel like that Croatia messed that up though. When in defending that,
Well, that's what I said. Once they conceded that first goal, it was like they got dejected, and
True. Yeah.
it's like they just lost it, man. It was like the worst game. This is the worst game that Croatia played across maybe the last two World Cups combined, if you think about it, because the final performance in the 2018 World Cup was a lot better than this. Even though they lost heavily, it was a lot better than this. They still fought. So for a team that has a lot of fight, they didn't have any in this game, not any at all.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
result weren't shocking for me. It was just the performance that was pretty shocking.
I agree. Yeah. The scoreline for sure. Argentina got revenge though because they
Yeah,
lost
from
three.
2018, man. But
Same
the
scoreline.
2018 game was very. The 2018 game, when I watched the highlights, it was a lot closer than it was. But Argentina just lost it and gave away some cheap goals. But it was a very exciting game when I went back and watched the highlights, because I was on, I think, Instagram. I saw the highlights, so it's pretty cool. So the other semifinal between France and Morocco, I think I went for Morocco. I think I had gone for Morocco to make it because I wanted to see an African team make the finals. But Theo Hernandez scored early in the 5th minute and Randall Kolomuani off the bench. So, you know, I think it was pretty comfortable, for France. They did get a few chances, Morocco, but just couldn't put them away. Can't remember exactly everything that happened in this game, not every detail, but it's similar to the Argentina Croatia match where, I don't think Morocco put up such a good fight like they did against Portugal and Spain against France, where we thought they would have knocked out another, juggernaut here. And I don't know if you could recall, if you check the lineup, Saiz had to go out very early. You had Eliamik and Dari starting the game. Remember, I think it was in this game that Eliamik had like an acrobatic that hit the upright or
Yeah,
something
it
like
was.
that.
It was that way.
Yeah. So a few things I remember from this game. But if you look at this lineup, it was like overly defensive. You have the two holding midfielders. You have five at the back. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, it was very difficult, man. You look at the line, it was very difficult to beat this France team in the form
Yeah.
that they were in as well. So
I'm sorry. This match was, yeah. I mean, end of the line for Morocco here. I think this game, I predicted just like you, that they would come. France would come through. Um, it's just a bridge too far, and I feel that. I mean, we can poke it and a few things maybe that Walid Regawi got wrong, but I mean, it's France at the end of the day, and I think
yeah,
in a similar way to how that goal that Argentina scored, the penalty, knocked the wind out of Croatia's sails in the first few minutes,
yeah,
conceding
fifth
that
minute
goal.
exactly.
Yeah,
And it was so uncharacteristic too, because no one has scored against Morocco, in open play. It was just an own goal scored, against, who was that? Against Croatia, was that? Canada?
the own goal was Canada. Yeah,
Canada, yeah. And for in 5 minutes, you're like, wow. 5 minutes, it just unfolded in 5 minutes. You knew they had lost. You see what I'm saying?
sure. Yeah,
5 minutes, like for a team that did not concede under that manager since he was appointed, to concede in 5 minutes. It was like, oh, wow, okay. Not what we thought. You see what I'm saying? But look,
yeah.
all throughout this whole video, we didn't give Deschamps any credit at all. Give it up to Didier Deschamps, man.
Sure.
See what I'm saying? Because, a lot of people probably want to see him fail, and he did well again. He did well to take the team to back-to-back finals. You see what I'm saying? So give
Oh
it
yeah,
up
I agree. Yeah.
to Didier Deschamps, and he does have a UEFA Nations League trophy as well. So
Yep.
Credit to Didier Deschamps. So, not to spend super long, we have two games, the final and the third place match. Of course, you guys know we made separate episodes talking about all these matches. So, make sure you go back, you check them out. Just go through the whole series, start from 1, come all the way to 29. We've been on a little hiatus and we're a bit rusty, but we'll get there. We'll get there. It's been all club football. International football will come back with a vengeance pretty soon. But in terms of the third place match, Croatia, I did go for Croatia too. I think you went for Morocco, right? Did you?
Yeah, I did. I had Morocco winning third on penalties.
I did go for Croatia. 2-1 to Croatia with Joško Vardiel in the 7th, but Ashraf Dari equalized immediately, and Mislav Orsic with a very good goal in the 42nd minute. I think it was a very good game of football, especially in the first half. And when you thought that Croatia would have, basically switched up their lineup, made a lot of changes, they didn't. They wanted it, you know what I'm saying? And give them a lot of credit. Morocco did change up a lot of their teams, so they wanted to give guys opportunities, which is fine. Croatia, they stayed switched on. They had the hunger, and it made up for the poor performance in the semifinals as well. So not much more to add from me though, but
it was an exciting match. I just thought that Morocco was going to win because I thought maybe there would be more incentive to want to come away with something this historic run. But when Croatia won it, the final whistle, I remember they celebrated. They had smiles on their faces. And people who say the third place match in the World Cup doesn't mean anything, that's not true at all. I mean,
it means something. It's a medal. It's a medal. It's an accolade. It's an honor. It goes down as you came third. It's a big deal. You see what I'm saying?
Of course.
It's a big deal.
And Croatia's now done this 3 times in the last 24 years. They've finished with a medal, and it means a lot for the small country like that.
Exactly. So for the grand finale, well, before the tournament, I feel good. I predicted Argentina to win it. I didn't know it was going to happen in this fashion, but Argentina won it. But you got to give it to France, man, because with Argentina being 2-0 up, and it's another similar situation where they just couldn't finish the game off. 2-0. And we were like, okay, one-sided final, 2-0, Messi, Angel Di Maria, big game players, and then Mbappe just went into beast mode. I'm telling you, oh, man. Okay, he scored a penalty in the 88th minute. Okay, that's penalty. 118th minute penalty too. But you see that goal in the 81st minute? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, yo. That goal defined the player because it was Mbappe. No other player scores that goal. That was brilliant. But this game, man, with Messi scoring in the 108 minute and Mbappe equalizing again, and then Kolo Muani, how that didn't go in, I don't know. I really don't. If you go back and you watch that had to go in. Emi Martinez, man, that has to be one of the most pivotal and crucial saves in football history.
Yeah, I mean,
in football history, it's that big, bro. It's a World Cup final, and instinctively, sticking out a leg. Bro, if that was Edison, that's a goal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's if Emiliano Martinez doesn't time that tackle right and say that France wins the World Cup 4-3.
Yeah, and a comeback as well.
A comeback, yeah, for sure. Like, this match was insane. I honestly thought when Messi scored in extra time and they had to go to VAR and they determined it crossed the line and there was no offside, I was like, okay, they're not going to bottle it again, because after taking a 2-0 lead and bottling it in the span of just 1 minute, in the final after they already did it against the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And then when they gave up that penalty, I was like, oh my God, these guys are hell bent on losing this.
And I was saying, I made this point that it doesn't matter what Messi did. Messi is gonna do his thing. He's gonna be genius. The other players just find a way to fuck things up. They just find a way to shit the bed. Some way, somehow they find a way. And it just so happened that things were, the stars aligned for Argentina on the day, and France didn't do well in the penalty shootout, and Argentina won.
Yeah.
But it's like you go back to the Netherlands situation, you go back to the situation against Australia. Argentina just does not know how to finish games off.
No, they don't.
But it doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter.
I do have to say though, like Di Maria's goal, that was a magnificent team goal.
Yep.
Magnificent. Every touch in the build up to that was perfect. Was pristine. And you and I were skeptical about him starting in the lineup. I texted you. I'm like, wow, Di Maria in the lineup.
Yeah.
That's a mess.
Di Maria is a big game player, man.
Yeah, he is.
About the Copa America, the Olympics, the World Cup, he scored. So he gets to bow out. He's, in the last stages of his career, he gets to bow out with a freaking World Cup medal, man. You see what I mean?
Yep.
Give it up to Argentina, man. Round of applause to Argentina. I know this is a long 1 hour episode. We had planned 35 minutes tops, and look, I thought that we were gonna be sharp and fresh enough, but it's still fresh on the brain, man. It's still fresh on the brain. I know there's probably a lot of things that we could have mentioned. And before we go, I gotta mention Lionel Scaloni. He deserves a lot of credit because all throughout this video, we have not mentioned Scaloni's name one time. You see what I'm saying? So He deserves a lot of credit. Give him credit, man.
This guy is now one of only 20 some odd people in the history of the sport to be a World Cup winning manager. He is, from what I heard, the youngest World Cup winning manager in history.
Wow.
And you look at this guy's resume, it is like Nothing. He came out of nowhere. All previous World Cup winning managers this century, and I'm sure well beyond, had respectable resumes of Champions League.
They had a great career first as a player, because you could remember I think Mario Zagallo for Brazil, he was a great player and then became the manager. You know what I'm saying? So it's Lionel Scaloni wasn't a great player.
No.
And he wasn't a great manager before. He was just plucked out of thin air because of the ineptness of all the previous managers that Argentina had, like Maradona and Sampoli and, whoever they had over the years, right? But Sampoli was the latest one. And after the whole Sampoli thing in 2018, I think then is when it was given to Scaloni. And I'm like, who the hell is this Scaloni guy?
Yep.
And he's won them a Copa America, something that they haven't done in donkey years, and the World Cup, something that they haven't done since 1986. So, but we saw it though. We saw it because we picked them to win the World Cup before the tournament started. We saw it. So, not surprised.
This guy, Scaloni, I just wanted to add, he played for Argentina. Then he was coach of the under-20 team for a bit. And then he became an assistant at Sevilla. And that's it. And then he was picked up by the senior national team of Argentina. And now he's a World Cup winning manager. And he's got 3 trophies with them. Won a Copa America, their first title, like you said, in about 30 years. Then the Finalissima. And then this.
Yeah.
And remember they lost 3 finals consecutively between 2014 and 2016. Now they got 3 trophies in the span of a year.
Man, I don't even count the Finalissima against these bums there, man. You see these bums on my hat there?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, but look, man, Italian league is pretty good this season. Italy might be back though. It's just so weird that they didn't qualify for the last two World Cups, man. But we will be talking about Italy. We'll be talking about Argentina and all the other teams going forward because World Cup Digest is back. You know, Football Pharaoh went into hibernation for a month or so. You know, I had to drag him out. You know what I'm saying? I had to literally go in and drag him out because it's like, bro, come on, man. World Cup Digest. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, of
But it's
course.
nice to be back, man. It's nice to be back.
It is. I hope we can get the rhythm going again and we can make content
Definitely.
more consistently.
Because we have a lot of content to do. We have a lot of ideas written down, and I'm hoping that we get to execute them, man. You know what I'm saying? There's a few international things that we have to talk about, so hopefully we get to discuss those within the next few weeks.
I agree. Want me to do the honors?
Yeah, do the honors. Do the honors.
So thank you for having me on again. We're back, guys. World Cup Digest number 29. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Football Pharaoh. You can also find me on Twitter, Football Pharaoh at Soccer Pharaoh. That's at soccer_Pharaoh. And we got a lot more content coming your way. We're still not even done, I think, talking about World Cup specifically. So leave a comment below to like and subscribe to both of us. Let us know what predictions you made for the knockouts that came to pass, which ones you got wrong, what you think of our predictions. This is a lot of fun. Hopefully we see you guys soon. Peace out, God willing.
And guys, I'm officially changing my name to Dominic Rich with no money. Okay, so to keep that in mind. All right, man. We talk. Peace.